Hello, sweet children of mine. Welcome to History, Horror, and More. We are on episode 2, but before we dive into the topic, I just want to say thank you for everyone for the feedback. I asked for a lot of feedback from people. I am going to be taking what you all said little by little and kind of going as I learn, and I'm very, very thankful that I was able to receive advice from people I love and care about, and now I'm going to apply those things. So if you do hear me say or take a shot. Hopefully this episode won't kill you like it may have killed other people. We'll see. But again, I just want to say thank you. The comments and everything, the views, everything is just really cool because I did get some messages about, people watched a movie that I talked about, or, they had never heard of this part of the Valentine's Day Massacre that I talked about, or that I presented in a way that was fun and entertaining. And that's going to be like the whole point of these videos. I just want, take a shot. I just want to share my knowledge of history and to talk about it in a way that I feel like a lot of teachers and professors in schools, they stick to mandates and what you're supposed to talk about, but they don't talk about a lot of really interesting topics, or they don't, if they do, they glaze upon it. They don't really get into it. So that's kind of, what I'm going for. And that being said, we are nearing the end of Black History Month, so I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Black history. One of my focal points in graduate school ended up being Black Chicago history, and I had a really great mentor, professor, thesis advisor, and my first reader, Dr. Eric Gelman. So he was amazing. He actually broadened a lot of my horizons about a bunch of different topics that I knew a little bit about and I was like kind of well versed in, but not enough. So he was able to give me a lot of information. My favorite topic to talk about is a local hero, Fred Hampton, local hero of Maywood, Illinois, local hero of Chicago, the Chicago Black Panther Party. He was the chairman, and he was young, and he was doing a lot of innovative, helpful things for the community, things for minorities. He was doing a lot of great activism work. I'm going to stop briefly and play a part of a speech that he gave. Now, forgive me because hopefully I can make this transition work. And again, it's going to get better, I promise.
I've been gone for a little while. At least my body's been gone. You ain't got to repeat after me. At least my body's been gone for a little while. But I'm back now, and I believe that I'm back to stay. I believe that I'm going to do my job, and I believe that I was born not to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die from slipping on a piece of ice. I don't believe I'm going to die because I got a bad heart. I don't believe I'm going to die because of lung cancer. I believe that I'm going to be able to die what I was in the things that I was born for. I believe that I'm going to be able to die high off the people. I believe that I will be able to die as a revolutionary in the international revolutionary proletarian struggle. And I hope that each one of you will be able to die in the international proletarian revolutionary struggle, and you'll be able to live in it. And I think that struggle is going to come. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people?
Figure. I feel like it's so important, especially today, that we have these voices that can help us with everything that's going on currently. There's so much fucked up stuff happening all over the world, but there are a lot of parallels to history that lead into today. Fred was such a good person. He did so much for his community. He was able to unify Black, white, Latino gangs in Chicago, stop violence, try to think of understanding. He was taken from us too soon. Take a shot. I'm going to stop talking about it only because this is a topic that I feel very passionate about, I think is really important. And we get to touch on things that Mayor Daley Sr. did with his Red Squad. We can talk about COINTELPRO. the FBI, all the things that they had planned for these black revolutionists, these black leaders, as ways to silence black voices and to make black people feel like they didn't matter. But they absolutely did matter. And we're lucky to be living in a world where we were able to have these people, these trailblazers, these men and women that were able to set the tone for how minorities should be treated and how privileges should be given to them. All humanity deserves the right to do these things. In a later episode, we will talk about what ended up happening to Fred, how he was betrayed by one of his own people, how the FBI had involvement. We're also going to talk about after his murder, how that was handled, how the Chicago police handled it, how the lawyers handled it, how Fred's family was taken down a horrible, horrible journey after losing Fred, how the community lost Fred. So I was also lucky enough when I was in graduate school to interview Fred's brother, Bill, and I wrote a paper about it, and I actually presented it at a humanities conference, and it felt so good. It felt good to talk about Fred and the things that he was able to accomplish, and I'm going to continue that with this. I also have some friends that are very well-versed in Black history and Fred Hampton and topics like that, so I can't wait to have them on and get their opinions and viewpoints, and I'm really excited to talk about this man. Very important part of Black history, very important part of Black Chicago history. So this is the end of February, and Black History Month actually, to me, is all year long. It's not just a month. But if we can shed the spotlight on some things during the month of February, some information that people may not know, that's a big win, I think. And Black history would not be enough without some horror recommendations. Look, guys, I took notes. So, one amazing movie that actually had like a follow-up is the original Candyman 1992 and Candyman that was made in 2021. Candyman 92 definitely touches on Cabrini Green and the way that Chicago Housing Authority just did not give a shit about its residents, and a lot of failures that are done in minority neighborhoods by city, state, and government. There's a lot of things that just get brushed under the rug. And so putting in this urban legend about Candyman and a white woman going, to write a paper on it, which kind of sounds a little familiar, take a shot. But it's really important, and it's not just a boogeyman movie. It's more than that. It's kind of like just at that time calling out what living life was for a minority. And the follow-up in 21 is kind of the after effects of that. Gentrification. If you look, the projects in Chicago thankfully are gone, but not for the right reasons. They should have been gone a long time ago. They should have not been able to be the way they were. People should not have been living like that. But Candyman, the follow-up, kind of touches on that and how gentrification pops up and what can occur because you can build over things. America has been doing that. All across the world, countries have done this. They've built over other things. You always have to get back to what was there first. And in this case, the projects were there. And that's really important. And if you haven't seen these two movies, I highly, highly recommend it. Rest in peace, Tony Todd. He plays Candyman in the original. What a loss to the horror world. One other movie that is great and was very ahead of its time was Night of the Living Dead, the original by George Romero in 1968. He cast Dwayne Jones to play the role that he played, and that was not a role that was written. It was a role based on societal expectations. Throughout the movie, you see themes of racism, and even at the end, spoiler alert, racism plays a large role in his ending. I'm not going to actually say in case you haven't seen it, but if you want a spoiler free version of this episode, let me know. If you guys want spoilers, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep being vague. But if you know me, you know I love spoilers. So just let me know in the comments which you prefer. Another great movie. The 90s were like really, I mean, aside from Night of the Living Dead, the 90s were really killing it with Black voices being heard. 1991, People Under the Stairs. Again, we're touching on topics of gentrification, law enforcement, neglect, slumlords. And if you're a Twin Peaks fan, there's 2 people from Twin Peaks in there, which makes me cackle because it's just so silly. But this idea of people that are white that just take advantage of things, like take advantage of Black people, of everything. But in this movie specifically, an impoverished neighborhood. And last but not least, Tales from the Hood in 95. Again, we're talking about law enforcement, gang violence, gentrification, all these things to erase voices. So, I am talking a lot, and I'm going to near the end of my episode. And I'm just going to say that, Black history is not just centrally located for February. It is so much more than that. And I can't wait to talk about it more. I can't wait to talk about counterculture. I can't wait to talk about a lot of the parallels between history then and history now. And before I leave, I'm going to put a collage of the movie titles that I want you guys to watch. So this is me signing off. Sweet children of mine, please like and subscribe, share to your friends, and I look forward to seeing you for the next episode.